1 cup of flour for each crust. Do you want 2 pies? We might as well make 2.
Yeah.
2 pies. I think that pumpkin makes... half as much shortening as flour. 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of shortening.
That's about a cup.
Yeah. And you could measure it if you can't eyeball it. And
Salt.
where did I get that on me? A half a teaspoon of salt for each cup of... You should put that in with the flour and before you put the other one in. But basically that's... half as much water as shortening.
I don't think this one on.
We don't have ice. And you should put the ice in the water before you start measuring the other, and then it'll be cold by the time you need it. But I do need, I've got to, whoops. That's why I put something else.
So you really don't cut it with something, you just use your hands.
You can use 2 knives, you can use a pastry, there's a pastry thing that's got a lot of little wires on it, but I worked in a bakery and they didn't sit there and go like that with a knife. Basically what you're doing is breaking up the big chunks and getting them into the flour in between all of it until it's like a the chunks are not too big and it's kind of like a meal. Yeah, that's good. Basic trick of good pie crust, easy up till here, but the basic trick of a good pie crust is the fact that it's, you don't work it very much. You put the water in and you barely stir it until it starts picking up the water. And if this is still see, it's hardly even stirred in. It's just barely wet and stirred a little, so you can tell that you've got enough water. Then you take it over and use flour in your hands, flour on the board, and dump it all out onto the board. Some of it's wet, it's too wet, and some of it's, and you gather it together all in a big lump and squish it together so the dry gets wet. And the less that you squish it and work it, the
better.
The better. Then you got 2 of them, so you cut it in half. And make this one into a ball. And press it, just press it really hard. It's not squishing it so much, it's just pressing it together. If it cracks too much, it was too dry. Easier to work with it a little on the wet side because you can keep adding flour to it than if it's too dry.
You added about 3/4 of a cup of water.
Yeah, it was a little, yeah. It was supposed to be, it was a big half, is what it was, because I had a big. This board is not quite as big as it should be. Put it a little bit up there. Make it as even as you can. And you can check if it's going to be big enough by doing that. Then you fold it over. Put your pan there. Whoops! Get that to the middle, and it's falling apart because it is so
Too dry.
flaky. No,
flaky.
it's wet, and it's yeah.
That's what you want.
Well, I'm sure it's because you're taking a picture of this. I've never had it fall apart that much. It's not, but you can, if you have to fix it, might as well wet it a little and squish it. Any place where it tore, wet it when you try to squish it back together, and then it won't come apart. And we've got more over here than we need, so we can add some on over here. And even though it looks like an ugly pie crust,
Well, your pie crusts are always flaky. That's what I want.
and that's because it is so soft is why it fell apart, and that's because it's going to be flaky. And then you cut off the excess. Maybe you don't have enough. You go like this. Maybe it's good to show a fallen apart one so you can see how you can salvage a fallen apart one.
So, how long do you bake that for?
It's on the recipe. You bake it till it's done, till a knife comes out just like custard, but it'll be on the recipe.
See, you don't. There's no sugar downstairs.
You can, and see if you can find all the ingredients for the filling. You won't have to put it together, but